taking a short break from the XKR to fix our XF Sportbreak. Basically it's got a problem with the door lock stroke handle. The handle doesn't go back in properly, and that means that the door doesn't latch. It still does it occasionally, so look, it's this gap here. If you look here, there is a gap. It's not enough, and so it's sometimes, you know, as soon as that goes back just that tiny little bit more, it closes. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take the thing out. That means I'm going to start by taking the door card off first. Right, so to get this door panel off, because we need to get to the back of the lock, there is this little hidden screw here, a little cover there, and I seem to remember that down here there is a metal square on both sides, and I think behind there's a couple of screws, so we can get to those and undo them, and then the rest of it's just held on by, you know, the usual kind of trim poppers. So let's get into that. Right, typical. So that's a Torque TORQ screw. Get one of that, and so I need to go and find my Torque drivers. Let's got that one out. That was easy to, there you go. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Just held in with a little clip. And I don't know whether you can see down there. Probably not. Let's get the other one out. So that goes a bit there to get into. Maybe that's what I should have seen before. There you go. And you can see there's a screw there. Okay, so it does look like there's actually a small cutout where you can get your screwdriver into to ease it off without scratching it, like I've done. Please do it that way, not the way I did it. Okay, so I've undone both, all three screws. The one in there is a T20 Torque, and the ones down here and in here are T25. Okay, so the door itself, the cover itself, or the door card is just held in by a load of poppers, standard trim plastic poppers, and typically you have to lift the door upwards to remove it. Okay, I just discovered there's also a screw in here. It's covered by this little panel, so you have to take that out, and you take the screw off and then try and pull it out. As you can see, the top is held in by these little metal clips, but it is effectively just a pop off once you've got that end bit off. Okay, so there's this clip here, this cable, sorry. Take that off, and then there's a wire on the speaker. Okay, so there's this cable here that needs to come out. So that's for the speaker. That one is for this light. That one's for this light here. And then there's one more down here, which is also for a light, if I remember rightly. Can't quite see it at the moment, but there it is. So they're colour coded. So there you go. It's got the door card off. So now we've got the door card off, the plug's unplugged. you might just about be able to see the occasional raindrop. So it's decided to start to rain. Typical British weather. So I'm going to see what I can do from see if we can get to the back of that door handle. I think it's possibly here and here where I've looked before. See if I can get some lubricant on the back of the handle, see if that makes any difference. I have in the past tried to, I've put a cable oiler on there and forced silicone lubricant in there, but yeah, we'll have another go. So I've looked in those holes, a couple of holes there. Very limited view of what's going on. So I've undone these 8 bolts all the way around. Hopefully that will give me a bit more of a view once we remove this, so I can see what's going on. As you can see, it's a bit of an angle. It's actually a T20. Yeah, so you have to go quite way in there to get that. So now you can ease that part out. So that comes out, and I think this comes out too. There you go. Interestingly, there's a wire on there. Okay, see that bit there is needed to come out as well. Let's get that out. Okay, so that's a T20 as well. Okay, so this is need to take these off. These are T30. Pretty tight. I need both hands, so I'll put the camera down for a sec. Okay, stepped up, used a ratchet to loosen it off, and then just have to spin these off with a screwdriver. Alright, I'm sure that frees it all off. Challenge is, yeah, well, we've obviously got this cable here that needs to come off. It needs to go through as well. But there's a connector on the back of the handle which connects to that wire, so somehow we've got to get that out. As you can see from this side, you're not going to be able to get to that connector from there, so right up inside where you can't see, of course, is where you've got to try and get the connector out. So just up there is a purple connector. There it is. That's the one we've got to get off, and obviously conversely you've got to get it back on again. What a pigging nightmare. Right, so finally I did get that plug out. See there, that gives us a little bit more movement on this cable, meaning that we can get the handle out, which means we can take all of this gubbins out. So having spent ages struggling, even working out that you can split the handle and the door lock separately, still not very easy. There's lots of wires to try and separate, which I don't think is the right thing to do. There is a bar that goes between here and down here, and if you tape up the window, you'll be able to take that out, and then that maybe that'll make it easier to get out. So that's my current theory on how I'm going to get this out. After struggling for a couple of days, I did actually get the whole assembly. This is the locking assembly. This is where the door lock pin goes in, and obviously the handle itself. It is ridiculously complicated for what it is. Lots of bits of plastic which don't quite, which don't sort of hold together all that well. So that's a bit of a problem. I was definitely surprised to see a certain manufacturer's badge. Where is it? There it is. It actually says Volvo there, which is ridiculous. That's in my Jaguar XF. I mean, it's just, ridiculously complex for what it needs to be. Basically the problem I have is you can't shut the door, and it's because it's because this part here, if you pull the part out, if this doesn't go quite back in, it doesn't shut. The door lock here doesn't lock, and what it actually appears to be is this great big mechanism here pulls, and it pulls on this here, but this is really stiff. So it's either the mechanism in here or the cable itself. I've seen some comments on some of the forums where they've changed this cable because it's, the worst of the problem is when it's frozen, when it gets cold. So I've either got a mechanism problem or this cable's no good, or it's, it binds too much. So first thing we'll try with is to try and get this cable out and see whether that's the problem. But that does seem quite stiff actually, so it might just be this cable, which will obviously be a cheaper repair than changing all of this overcomplicated rubbish. Anyway, let's not get too angry with it. Got enough bruises and grazes and scratches from it, so let's have a look at this cable. Take this cable out, see if it frees up on its own. If not, that could easily be the problem, which would be a much simpler fix than trying to get in there and clean it all up and re-lubricate it. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so having worked on it for a while, if you look at this end, you can see it's got like a nylon sheath around the cable, and obviously just Belden cable, some kind of bicycle type cable here at this end. This is the handle end of the mechanism, and this is the other end that's near the lock. Now the lock seems to move, that mechanism moves freely and with quite a strong spring. What I've done is I've actually, you can actually see just here I've actually gone and removed that. I tried sanding it with 800 wet and dry, it still wouldn't smoothen up, but once we get past that little bit there, once we're in this bit moves nicely. So I've lubricated that up with this, which is a 3-in-1 silicone lubricant, and the reason I've chose that one is because it goes down to -40 degrees C, and the problem I was having was definitely when the doors were frozen, this mechanism seemed to jam up worse. So hopefully, I've put some of that lubricant on it all. Hopefully reassembly, and that'll all be good. So I'll come back once it's back in and I'll show you it moving. Okay, so now we have reassembled. So the cable starts here, goes round the mechanism here, and joins onto here, just there. Now this, when you pull the handle, what you're doing is you're turning this, and if you can see down here, it's moving this mechanism here. What I found was that with that cable being so stiff, you'd let go up there, but this would stay at this point. So hopefully that's fixed the issue for now. I will look to get a replacement cable, a couple of them for both, one for each door, because they seem to have the problem on both sides. Hopefully, now that I know how, the nightmare that it is to get in there, the fact that you do have to get that bar, one of the window supports, you have to take that out so that, or at least get it out of the way. Otherwise, you'll never get this, this thickness here, where that wide. It's extremely difficult to get that out of the car. Well, it's impossible with the window bar comes sort of along this direction. You also need to take out the bit of foam that's in the bottom, because otherwise you can't get to these these connectors. I did struggle with a screwdriver going through to get this one off, but the secret is to take the bit of foam out the bottom of the door. Alright, I'll put this back in, and after some swearing etc, I'm sure I'll show you it back in and working. As I've mentioned, right up inside there, there's 3 cables, so you must fix those 3 cables. You can do it post fitting in the support bar for the window. You can put that back in, but before you screw in here, you must put those cables back on, because I've just tried it, and I just tried putting those in. You can't even see them, so you have to loosen this off before you put, well, you have to put the cables on before you put this bit back in. You never get your hand inside and up here to get those cables back on, and I realise now that I might have just mucked up because I haven't done the cable that goes onto the handle. We'll have a go, see if we can get that back in. If not, by that I mean this piece. I haven't put that back in, and I've only got 1 screw in there, but so maybe I might be able to get that back in. We'll try it. If not, we'll have to loosen it off again. Just trying to come up with a process that I can tell you guys on how to do it. Okay, you can just about see there, that's where the connector is. You can get your hand in there, and if you look through, which hole is it? That hole there, you can see, so you can watch through there as you push that connector into the hole. So yeah, we can definitely put that bit back in, which is a good start. That hole was actually for this cable that goes to the door handle, so I've just put that back in. Yeah, so we're pretty much there. I think we just need to put some more screws in here and tighten it up, and then see whether or not it can open and shut. As part of my investigation trying to get this apart, I thought I had to get the glass out, so I took the trim off the outside, and to do that I had to take the mirror off. So the mirror is just those 3 and a small screw here buried underneath the foam, the rubber cover. So that's all you have to do from that, obviously, and there's another plug, and then this just pushes back into the rubber seam all the way around, so that just pushes in. And then once you've got the rest of the door card, etc. Yeah, once you've got the rest of the door card holding it in, it's all good. Don't forget to put the foam back in. I just did that. I put this cover back on, and now I've got to put this back in, and I've got to try and work out which way it goes. And definitely, you can see by the witness marks there, the tape was up against that. So in there something like that. So I'll get some tape and stick it back in. So here you go, look. It opens and it goes back in here. So it shuts. Magic. Oh. Was it worth all the effort? Well, I guess it was, because that means you can use the car again. But I have looked at that cable. There are some, get it a bit quieter. I have looked up that cable. We'll put the part number up on the screen. Currently £33.50 or something like that from Jaguar. However, they're out of stock. And because, you know, they were original Jaguar ones or stroke Volvo ones, where the cable exited, there did look like it was a bit of a, there was a bit of a crimp in the edge there, the sleeve. So maybe, you know, there's cheaper ones on eBay, you know, from China, you know, $12.50, something like that each. So I have ordered a couple from China and I'll see what they're like. But yeah, I'm amazed it's all back together, and yeah, happy. Great to see the door shut. End of a saga for sure. There you go. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.